Portés par le voyage et les rencontres, nous avons rendez-vous à Kingston au Nouveau-Mexique pour le Natural Building Colloquium organisé par l'association Builders Without Borders.
150 personnes venues des 4 coins de la planète se réunissent pour partager leurs expériences sur la construction naturelle. Comme nous, ils sont convaincus qu'habiter autrement est un enjeu crucial. Et ils se demandent comment toucher ceux qui ne le sont pas encore.
20 years ago, we had the first gathering of this kind, and it was very new. And most of the people who came were working, but they did not know about each other. And back in that day, we were still rediscovering what we call natural building today. In fact, that was the very first time the word natural building was really used. Before that, people called it alternative building because we have mainstream building and this is an alternative to mainstream. And I thought alternative was not the right word because I didn't want to be marginalized by the word. I thought it shouldn't be a negative word, it should be a positive word, or we should stand for something. So that's when we decided to call it natural building. And when people all came together, it was like a family gathering. It was like a tribe, if you will. People who had the same kind of value system came together, and it was very magical, and it felt very important at the time. And I think that's why people were so excited to come back for this event 20 years later.
That's got to go that way. The other one is
or 2/3 of the bales.
Yeah.
In this situation, like first third.
What is this one here? This is like a
Extra, just instead of wasting it, having it fit. That's why I was proposing that a little bit more. So we kind of split this.
really common.
You got a whole bunch of needles that you want to set up. Mine's just special.
Does it need to go like straight?
Yeah, yep. So I usually double check. I'll put my tape up.
It's a little short.
Natural building is not going to stop what's happening now, but hopefully it will be a big contribution to reducing CO2 production and global warming and the loss of species. The global population has increased 3 times. It is now 300% of what it was when I was 12. Wow. And in that time, we have used probably more than half of the available resources in the world. The ones that we're currently using. It's things like metals, oil, the big ones. And water sources and so on and so on. The United States, about 50 or 55% of all the energy used in the country, it doesn't go into driving around or airplanes or any of that stuff. It goes into houses. More than half of the total energy use of the United States is in houses and other buildings. But most of our buildings are houses. That's what we've got most of. So even making a small dent in that problem creates a huge effect, both nationally and internationally.
Up on edge, where we can get at both sides.
Well, 17 degrees of September.
I don't know if it's a chance.
I don't have to think.
Okay.
Somebody says,
All right, so we're going to
you're
measure
over
15.
going to the saw. What angle?
there's that tape.
Yeah, we'll measure 15.
Oh,
Okay.
One of our electrical was going to that now because It'll move. It's gonna move. We want to try and get it close, Brett, to start off with, and we'll adjust it later. Larger core.
Kendra's got a video out there, straw bale electric.
I think that perhaps there's several different discussions that need to happen here. Maybe one on how to create that communication process, how to outreach to people through media, through different project examples. Another discussion about how to reach institutions and organizations in a formal way. The code officials, the government, the top-down folks, the developers, the people who will develop products in a natural way, in a more sustainable way, to reach the average builder, actually globally, not just in the States. So it seems to me that there's almost three different fronts: a popular front, a institutional front, and a grassroots community front.
I think another puzzle that we have to solve is that human beings, rather than being the tool users or Homo sapiens, the intelligent ones, there ought to be a new word that we're humans, the storytellers.
Yeah, my name is Kelly Hart, and I just did a presentation on earthbag building, and the whole last part of it was about what's going on in Nepal right now, relative to earthbag building, and I think it's pertinent to this conversation because, as you know, the earthquakes in the spring of this year devastated that country. It was just awful. Whole villages and large parts of cities were flattened, and it was soon realized that some 50 earthbag buildings that existed in Nepal prior to the earthquake all survived. And so suddenly people are realizing that there must be something about this earthbag way that can respond to earthquakes so that they won't fall down. And so the interest is just gone through a tremendous uprising in scale. And at this point, Owen Geiger, who I associate with, he and I work on the Natural Building blog together, and also the earthbagbuilding.com. He has just finished 6 weeks in Nepal training engineers and representatives from NGOs and people associated with the government of Nepal in basic earthbag techniques. Is also working with the government in coming up with some very basic earthbag designs for schools and homes that will be acceptable to them, so that it's like code approval, so to speak, countrywide. And he's making very good progress on establishing that kind of standard. So it's just an example of how technology can suddenly be brought into the limelight and be recognized for its true value.
Thank you. We're at a point where things can change very fast in a very unpredictable way. And I think that shows, for me, real promise in this how to source locally building materials, food, community, love, etc.
millions of people in this country know that the way that they're living is not satisfying to them, and it goes against their conscience, and it's creating problems globally. What they don't know is what to do about it. So my job is to offer some answers. And one of them is to have a smaller, more comfortable house. It's as simple as that. By comfortable means that you don't have to go out every day to work to pay for your house. We need to have models in the rich countries of people they can admire who are living without shitting in the drinking water, or having all electric houses that use a lot of power, or driving around all the time to go to work or to go shopping or whatever they're doing. We need to show what they're doing that's really fun, that as you reduce your environmental impact, you become more creative, because money is a substitute for creativity and ingenuity. Maybe building your house, or in the way that you live in that house, finding creativity coming out all the time. And we're getting there. There are people in other parts of the world who are watching carefully what we're doing, and every time we make a movie like this, they want a copy of it. That's what's going to do it. So I'm defining my job and yours.
Well, that's quite the broom they got for us, isn't it? Yeah, right.
I'll do the broom.
You gonna broom it?
Come on, let's go in our treehouse. Pretend they attack you, okay? There's 7 of them. 7? Uh-huh. We gotta stay in our house. Okay, pretend they attack you.
I think the young generation, the youngest generation now, need to be very careful not to do the same things that the old generation did. We made a lot of mistakes, and I think it's up to you, the younger generation, to keep questioning us. Why did you do so and so? Should I do the same thing, or should I find a new direction? Because we did a few things that are okay, and a very few that are really brilliant and will help. But mostly we did all the wrong things, and we're still doing them. And so I think the role of the younger generation is to question the problem makers, the people who are creating difficulties, especially in the areas where you know older people to be influential. So you need to be questioning policymakers, government, to some degree other people's parents and grandparents, because you can't question your own. But the older population generally. And getting us to take off these old dirty clothes and put on new ones and put on less of them. And then go to work to get things back into a condition where the world's going to be a better place for the young people. And the younger the people are, the more they have to gain from that. So I feel that we need to be addressing not just your generation, but the generation who are teenagers now and little kids. We need to be spending a lot of time with little kids. We need to be models for them. That's coming.
Everybody is wondering what and where we all came from. Everybody is worrying about where we're going when the whole thing's done. But nobody knows for certain. It's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be.
C'est avec la sagesse de ces pionniers que s'achève notre aventure. Nous rentrons en France et ce n'est plus une intuition mais une certitude. Du Népal aux États-Unis, d'autres manières d'habiter existent et ne demandent qu'à être connues.
Aujourd'hui, presque 6 ans après notre départ, le dérèglement climatique est dans toutes les têtes. L'urgence est là. Mais un peu partout, la mobilisation citoyenne grandit pour faire pression sur les gouvernements. Et en attendant, un autre monde est déjà en construction.